Greetings, fellow Watford fans. Omar here, and it's time for a You ORNS observation after tonight's Burnley versus Everton match that saw Burnley beat Everton by a score of 3 goals to 2. Not the ideal result for Watford, but not the end of the world for Watford either, as Burnley pick up only their fourth Premier League win of the season, and they defeat an Everton side who I think now are absolutely down. Despite the fact that Everton remain outside the relegation zone, the precipitous downfall of this football club means to me, if you look at their results, that they are down. They are as good as down. Their manager does not have a clue. I'm talking about Frank Lampard. He has no idea what he's in for. I do not think he survives here, and I don't think Everton survive. Now, of course, I could be proven wrong. But Everton are the team in free fall here, despite the fact that they did win against Newcastle. That seems like a million years ago now. That was like 4 weeks ago before the 3 week break. And Everton, who have lost every game since then, in the best of my memory, they lost in the FA Cup, they lost in the league to West Ham, and they lost tonight to Burnley, a Burnley side that again had not scored more than really 3 goals in a long time. And they actually hadn't scored more than that for a few weeks now. They scored three tonight. But Everton are in trouble. I think Everton are definitely going down. I think Everton and Norwich are done, even though Everton are not yet in the relegation zone. So where does that leave Watford? Now, Watford, we would have loved to have a point tonight there in that Burnley Everton match. And for a long time, it looked like that would be what it was. Everton, who led at halftime, gave up a goal in the first 10 or 15, 10 or 11 minutes of the second half with a goal scored from Jay Rodriguez to make it Burnley 2, Everton 2. And of course, after that, Burnley looked pretty good, pretty lively. Everton had their chances. And then it was Maxwell Cornet, Maxwell's silver hammer, that defeated Everton. Now, that was a goal that saw an Everton side poorly marking there. But where does this leave Watford? Of course, as I said, we'd love to have had a point out of that game instead of 3 points for Burnley. But all is not lost for Watford here. Even though Watford fall the place to 19th, they are level on points with Burnley, albeit Burnley has a better goal difference, quite significantly better. And yes, Burnley do have a game in hand. And yes, Burnley have an easier schedule than we do all the way in. However, if you look at what's gone on lately between these two teams, Watford have, I think, played better the last couple of games, the last game or two, than Burnley have. Burnley losing at home to Manchester City, Burnley tonight getting the win against Everton. And although you can definitely say that a win will give Burnley momentum, they still do have to go to Norwich. And I don't think Norwich are going to give up, even though Norwich are all but down. I think Norwich are going to give them a fight on Saturday. Do not count Norwich out of this game on Saturday at home. They're going to make life difficult for Burnley. They know it, they know it, and they know it. This is not a cakewalk game for Burnley on Saturday, Watford fans. Do not, do not presume that Burnley are going to get that win at Norwich. Now, they obviously could, but you never know. I think Norwich are going to give one hell of an account of themselves. They went to Brighton and got a 0-0 draw, did Norwich last week. And again, it would not surprise me if Norwich get points here. And that's what you want. You want Norwich to get a draw against Burnley, or certainly get a win against Burnley. Of course, that would be the best possible outcome for Watford as far as Norwich are concerned. Norwich are the home side, so I think Norwich can certainly put pressure on Burnley. Do not count out Norwich here in that game. Now, Watford, of course, we need to beat Leeds. There's no ifs, ands about it, no fans, buts. Watford must get 3 points on Saturday. Everybody who is a Watford fan knows that is what has to happen. Watford have to win 5 home games, or if they don't win 5 home games, then 4 home games and that away game at Crystal Palace will be enough, I think, even with what's been going on with other teams. 37 points, I've maintained it. 37 points is going to be the target. And I think that is what will keep you up in this league. And currently, right now, we've got Burnley on 24 points, Watford on 22 points, Everton on 25 points. And then you've got the other two teams above them. You've got the likes, I think, of Leeds, who I think are on 30 points. And you've got Newcastle, who are on 31. That's what you've got. Brentford 33. So I'll leave Brentford out of this, even though Brentford have a pretty tricky schedule down the rest of the way. Newcastle have a pretty tough fixture list as well. And Leeds certainly aren't out of the woods either. We must beat Leeds on Saturday. I think tonight, though Burnley won, is not the end of the world for us as Watford fans, or as for Watford, not the end of the world at all. Of course, we'd rather the draw, as I've said, but this is not the end of the world for Watford here that Burnley won the game. It just means, quite frankly, that Burnley just leapfrog us. That's what it means. Yes, they have the game in hand. It means that we are still 3 points, really four, behind Everton. With the goal difference, it's really 4 points. So nothing's changed in that way for Watford. Nothing has changed except we've gone down a place. That's it. So you've got to think of it that way if you're a Watford fan at this moment. I think that's the way you've got to look at this. And you've got to look at the fact that Watford have destiny in their own hands. They've got to win these games at home. We have been saying that forever. Yes, we know Watford's home record. We know how it's been this season, abysmal. Watford now have to start winning these games. And I'm encouraged by the fact that I think they can do this. And I think they will do this because, again, they have begun to get the balance right in each phase of play, in each third of the pitch. And I think they showed that against Liverpool, despite not getting the finishing right. And they showed that certainly at Southampton several weeks ago with a win. So I think now, despite the fact that Watford lost to Liverpool, there's lots of positive to take from that game, despite the defeat. And I think that they're going to bring that into the game against Leeds. Now, I'll talk more about Watford versus Leeds on the Friday Focus coming up in a couple of days' time. But as for this game tonight that we saw, Burnley against Everton, it really is all as you were as far as Watford are concerned. Yes, they fall to 19th, but they're still 3 points, really four, with the goal difference behind Everton. Everton are at 25 points still. That is really, again, an outcome that you can't be too concerned about, really, as far as Watford are concerned, because, again, Everton didn't gain any points tonight. Now, in all of the best of worlds, as I keep saying, we'd rather there be a draw tonight. We would have looked for a draw. That would have been pretty darn good. It would have been Everton on 26 and it would have been Burnley on 22. We would have fallen to 19th anyway. There was no scenario tonight where we would have not dropped a place except if Everton had won. And we don't want Everton to win that game tonight. That is really an important thing. The worst result would have been Everton winning the game at Burnley tonight. And at one point, Everton were in front at halftime, and it looked like they could have gone on and scored more, but they didn't. And this is a massive blow for Everton tonight. Their confidence will be shot. They had a lead, they blew it away from home. They missed a gazillion chances, and their next game is home against Manchester United. And yes, I know Everton have beaten Man United before at Goodison. This is the Manchester United side who hadn't played well, who slugged it out and struggled against Leicester. I think they're going to be right the way up for this, Man U. They'll be up for this game at Goodison. And I think you're going to see a very good Manchester United performance. I think Cristiano Ronaldo will be ready for that game after he was sick the last game or two. I think that Everton are bang in trouble here. And it doesn't matter how many games they have in hand. They have a brutal schedule. They've got to play Man U. They've got to play Liverpool. They've got to play Arsenal. I mean, they've got to play Leicester twice. And they are absolutely banging it. I think Everton are going down. I really think they're going down. Watford have an excellent chance. I maintain they will stay up. And I think they will stay up with these wins. I think it's going to be 37 points. That's 5 wins. And I do think they need to win all 5 of these games. Now, again, if they don't win all 5 and they win only 4 of the home games, they must win that game at Palace. Must, and must. By the way, Chelsea, who lost tonight in the Champions League, do not look very good at Stamford Bridge, do they? They've now dropped 2 consecutive games at Stamford Bridge in the space of 5 days. That is not a recipe for anything to do with success as far as Chelsea are concerned, and that's who we visit at the end of the season. This has been the You Orns Observation. Believe.